What is up, people? This is Donnie from Think, Make, Repeat, and today we are going to go over the HellFire. This is the HellFire, brand new model, modeled it a few months ago. We're going to go over all the parts. I have not painted this yet, obviously, but we'll go over the parts and how I assembled it. Let's get started. Let's go over the parts. We have the main body. We have the grip. This is the Malawan grip because this is the Malawan gun. I wanted to, if there's any parts people out there for Borderlands 2 that are obsessed with parts like me, you would want the Malawan grip. I do have another grip on here. I have not actually modeled it in the model, but there is another grip. I might one day release it. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so that's the grip. These print flat. Some of them still have pegs in it. I just don't want to take them off. I've done this test fitting numerous times. So some of them are just stuck. Some of them are just in there right now. Eventually I'll wind up putting this all together and most likely painting it. But these printed flat. This is actually two pieces that has some pegs inside of it. We're just going to leave it like that for now. These two pegs, that peg up here. You've got the circle part, these two pieces. You'll see this part, this prints down because it's all flat on the bottom. That points out, so it'll go like that. If you accidentally put it in the wrong way, you'll see there's these little knobs down here, and these just won't align on. So then flip it over. You have the radiator that comes in two pieces. This just pops on there. It's a cutout. This slots into this little hole there. For the barrels, this is the under barrel. It has a hole here. You can slot that in. There you go. Slot that in, and there's a hole within here, and then you'll see like a groove. The groove is for this part right here, and that's where that part goes. You have your scope, and then I just call this the bug because I don't know, it looks like a beetle to me. The next thing is the side box. The side box comes in really two pieces, not counting the peg. This peg won't be in there, it's just in there right now. And then you have this part. So next is the trigger. Trigger goes with this part. Let's go ahead and get some of this stuff out of the way. No, let's start here. This is the stock in the back barrel, and it has 4 holes, 4 pegs. Just put that together. And I always recommend before you wind up doing the glue up, do a test fit, make sure it all fits. Sometimes the pegs need a little bit of sanding, or with this the hole here, sometimes there's a brim. It depends how cold it is. Most of the time I try not to print it with a brim. It should come out nice, but if it does, just take an X-Acto blade or some knife of some sort and cut whatever's in there out, and then you will be able to fit the peg in. So that's that part. This part, because I've started to put this and take it apart so many times, this is like the 8th time. That part just cracked a little while ago, but that's no big deal. We'll deal with it. But there are 2 tricky parts to putting this together, because you can see here, there's a peg here and there's a peg here. This one's at an angle and this one's straight. That's what makes it a little bit hard. And the same with the front, where you have some coming back and some coming up. They're just a little bit tricky, so we'll go over those pieces. This is the back drip. You can see there's a peg, and there's 3 different sizes of pegs. There's this flat one, there's this one, which is more like a long rectangle type, and then there's the fat one. So I'll take this peg, just put it in the slot, and that just fits like that. Next part is the trigger. Trigger just fits in there, easy. Now this is the part that's a little bit difficult, because like I said, this one goes straight in and this one goes at an angle. This is where the fat one is. We'll just pop that in there, and then we'll start to get this one in here. There we go. And actually, we're going to take the stock off, because I did this earlier, and it's a little tough for you to see. All right, so you can see there, I've got this tip in, and then you can see, because this is loose here, that's how you get that part in, and then you can easily slot it down. And that's the best way, because this part is a little thin. There's not much I can do about it, because that's just the way the model is. I mean, I would have to. It wouldn't be as accurate if I did it a different way. So that's why it's like that, and that's just where I have to cut it because of the size of the printers. But you're not going to be doing this 8 to 10 times like I have, so you shouldn't have that issue. And if you do, you can always just put some epoxy down, some Bondo or something like that. Even super glue. Super glue dries really hard. Sometimes I use it when I have a gap to fill, and I'll just line some super glue on there, push it together, and then take this accelerator, blast it, and then you have a nice, you've pretty much sealed whatever you want to seal. All right, so I got this part in. You can see this is still loose. This part is in. This part has started to go in. There. All right. So it's just basically keeping it loose enough in this area and in this area so you can get that last peg in. All right, so now we can put the stock back on. I mean, the stock is just so easy. I mean, 50% of the gun is those two pieces. All right, let's do the circle. So you can see here, I already get a peg sticking out. You would just slot that peg in. Like I said, this is flat to the surface. So you can take this. Oh. There you go. These your grooves go down. You'll see the cuts in there in this piece. So you can just take this, slot it in. And when you're doing this, you would just put glue all over the post, glue all over the bottom, set it down. And then you got this, which just has a little hole in it. And that's that part. Glue that on. The next part is the radiator. Just take those two pieces. It's got a small peg, a larger peg. Just pops on that way. You'll see a chamfered edge. I believe it goes down. I don't think it matters, but I think it goes down. So, yeah, just pops in like that. Glue that in there, and the last piece is this guy. So you would just pop this peg in, this piece, just glue that into the top. Sorry, frog in my throat. And then there's a peg there, and you would just pop that in. There's also, pull this up so you can see it, some grooves, indentions on here. Just put some glue in there. It'll help hold it in even more. All right, so now it is built. One thing to note is this is built off of one that I started even before this that has electronics in it. It has LEDs. This thing spins. I have all the code written and everything. I just haven't gotten around to do it. Work has been picking up. So I thought the best thing to do is to get this out because obviously I have the model. I just had to do some minor tweaks to make it so it didn't have the electronic components in it. It just takes a longer time to model all those in and route the wiring and all. So if you wind up getting this and you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always around. And thanks for watching. Bye.